Harkness from In Accountancy, and welcome to this video where I'm going to explore the importance of cash flow management and share with you my top tips for improving the cash flow in your business, especially when times are tough. So at the time of filming, we're standing on the precipice of another financial crisis and economic recession. Times are tough. We have rising inflation, we have spiralling costs of living, including food and fuel as we approach the winter months, not to mention the political turmoil of the last few weeks. Now, I started my first business in September 2007, just a few weeks before the financial crisis. And I remember someone saying to me then something along the lines of, "There are no bad times, there are just badly run businesses." Now, I wouldn't go quite that far. I think especially the last few years have proven that bad times can really hit certain industries in particular. But I do agree that well-run businesses treat the good times the same way as they treat the bad times. And the key element to this is having a really firm grip on their cash flow management. So what is cash flow management? Well, it's as simple as knowing what's coming in, when, and what needs to be paid out, and when. And ensuring that you have enough funds, enough cash available to take care of all of your outgoings. Simple. But it's equally as important to understand what cash isn't. Cash and profit are not the same thing. Many profitable businesses unfortunately fail simply because they run out of cash. And this can be particularly affect fast-growing or cyclical businesses. So for these businesses, medium-term cash flow forecasting is not only important, but it's absolutely essential. What else? Well, cash isn't sales either. So a sale is not a sale until you've been paid, until the money for that sale is in your bank account. So don't let salespeople who've got the gift of the gab, who can sell ice to Eskimos, whatever that might be, don't let salespeople hoodwink you into paying them that big bonus or that commission until not only have they achieved an appropriate profit margin on whatever they've sold for you, but until you have been paid for the work. Now, I could talk for an age about profit margins and the importance of really understanding your numbers, but I'm going to leave that for another video. So for now, on that note, just remember the old adage, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. And I'd go one step further. I'd say that cash is the lifeblood of any organisation. It's the oxygen without which you simply can't and won't succeed and survive. So that, in a nutshell, is why cash flow management is so important. So now we understand that, what do we do about it? How can we improve the cash flow management? Whenever I first started, I wanted to do a blog about this subject, and I thought, I'll just pull together my top tips. But there were so many that I can't fit them all into this video. In fact, I stopped at number 43 and thought, right, I need to whittle this down a little bit. So this video will cover my top 10 or so strategies that are aimed specifically at UK small businesses. So no particular order. First and foremost, you've got to monitor your cash position daily. You've got to know what's in your bank and have weekly, quarterly, annual cash flow forecasts in place. A wise man once said, and this is one for the boys probably in particular, treat your money as you would a beautiful woman. Because if you don't pay it enough attention, you'll wake up one day to find it's disappeared, and you don't want that. Number 2, measure your debtor days and set targets to improve these. So, for example, debtor days, if you've got a small business turning over about £300,000 and you've got debtor days, so invoices outstanding that haven't yet been paid, of £45,000, your debtor days are 55. So if you can put a plan in place to reduce those debtor days down to 35, that'll be about 16 grand more in your bank account over the course of a year. So that's not to be sniffed at. There are loads and loads of strategies that you can put in place to improve your debtor days. But for me, the most important the absolute fundamental is to have a really robust credit control process in place. So again, I've already done a video on credit control processes, so I'll pop a link in the comments below and make sure you pick that up if you find it useful. But essentially it starts with a phone call, not an email. It starts with a phone call and it's consistent and persistent. So number 4, invoice early and accurately. Mistakes in invoicing are just a reason for clients to delay paying you. Number 5, make it easy for them to pay. There's no excuse nowadays. Good accountancy software allows you to put payment tools and APIs in place from Stripe, Go Cardless, Cresco, all sorts of things you can do to make it really simple for your clients to pay. Next, you need to understand your customers' buying and paying cycles. So some businesses only pay once a month, and actually if they pay 30 days after month end, if you raise an invoice on the first of the month, regardless as to whether your payment terms are 14 days, their next payment cycle is going to be about 60 days later. So understand that and make sure you're invoicing appropriately. Number 7, you've got to know your products and services. You want to focus your sales on the higher margin product and get rid of that slow moving stock or that low margin product. To be honest, fire sale if necessary, and I very rarely suggest that you might want to sell products on at a discount. So the reverse of that, next idea is to put your prices up, because every little helps, and you can be sure that right now your costs are going up. Your suppliers are putting their prices up. That means that your margins and in turn your cash is being squeezed. So I've also got another video on increasing prices versus discounting, the impact of that on margin and sales, so I'll share a link to that below as well. Number 9, consider leasing instead of buying. Now in the long term, leasing might be more expensive, but really in the short term, it might be the only way for you to have the availability of assets that you actually need. So look at leasing and look at terms. Number 10, work with your accountant to really understand the cash impact of any business decisions that you're trying to make, and what the payment terms are likely to be, when those payments might fall due, what any tax liabilities arising might be, and when they will fall due. And of course, if you don't have a good relationship with your accountant, you can always give us a call. So on that note, and we're talking about tax to pay, if you are struggling to pay, if you know you've got a big tax bill coming up and you just don't have the cash or aren't going to have the cash in place to pay it all in one go, talk to HMRC. Arrange what they call a time to pay scheme, because contrary to popular belief, they can be very, very helpful, especially if you get there in advance and put a plan together with them, rather than getting in touch afterwards once something is already late. So remember, they will charge any late payments, they're going to charge interest, and it's currently 4.75%. I think it'll go up in the next week or two, but it's still less expensive than a loan you might be able to get. And speaking of HMRC, get things done on time. Just get things done on time, get things filed on time, pay your liabilities on time, because that way you avoid penalties, and why pay them more than you have to? Number 13, have a look at your debt. Consider invoice financing, discounting, any other debt management, but look at, review your fees on those. Maybe get a professional to come and look at it with you, and perhaps consolidate that debt into one place for a lower fee and lower repayment. But only do that if the business model is sound, because you don't want to start throwing good money after bad, so to speak. And finally, I could go on for much longer here, but I said 10 tips and I think I'm on 12 or 13 already. So this is the last one for now, and it's so important. So just review your clients, review your customers, and sack what I call the D's. So I grade them A, B, C, D. D's are those bad payers, late payers, the people that challenge you on price, and those who just simply drain your energy, your emotional energy and your time, because whether you realise it or not, they're having a massive impact on your turnover, your profitability and your cash. simply by stopping you from focusing on bigger picture things that really, really matter. So that's it for now. That's my sort of importance of cash flow management for a small business in the UK and my top tips to improve it. And hopefully now you also understand why I think cash is so important in a business, particularly, as I say, when times are tough. You want to have a buffer, 3 to 6 months at least, where you can fund your business should another COVID or some similar issue arise. But I'm going to leave you with that for now. I'll put links in below. If you have any comments, if you've got any questions, please do post them. As I say, we do our utmost to reply to every single one of those. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more top tips for business and finance in the UK and tax and so on, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. And lastly for now, if you do nothing else with this video and what you've listened to and learned today, please do put a cash flow forecast in place for your business. Hope you find this useful, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.